Hello, I'm Arpita Shome, Assistant Professor in the Department of Information Technology of Holdia Institute of Technology. Today, my topic is audio in marketing. So, before knowing the audio, we need to understand what is sound. So, sound basically comprises the spoken word, voices, music, and even a smallest noise. It is a complex relationship involving a vibrating object, a transmission media, usually air, a receiver, that is basically our ear, and a perceptor, that is our brain. The sound is generated from vibrating objects and can flow through a material medium from one place to another. During generation, the kinetic energy of the vibrating body is converted to sound energy. So sound is basically when an object like a tuning fork starts vibrating or oscillating rapidly, a part of its kinetic energy is imparted to the layer of the medium in contact with the object, that is, the air surrounding a bell. The particles of the medium, on receiving the energy, starts vibrating on their own and in turn help to transfer a portion of their energy to the next layer of air particles, which also start vibrating. This process continues by propagating the acoustic energy throughout the medium, and when it reaches our ears, it sets the eardrums into a similar kind of vibration, and our brain recognizes this as the sensation of sound. What is the power of sound? That something vibrates and the waves of pressure in it goes into our eardrums, and eardrums will translate these changes in waveforms as sound. It is measured in decibel, and the sound waves are known as wave. Next is sound. Sound can be a pleasant sound and can be a noise. A pleasant sound has a regular wave pattern and the pattern is repeated over and over. But the waves of noise are irregular and they do not have a repeated pattern. Sound wave, also known as an acoustic wave, is a type of mechanical wave that propagates through a medium such as air, water, or solids due to the vibration of an object. This means that they are capable of being compressed and expanded like springs. Sound waves are fundamentally longitudinal waves, but the direction of propagation of sound is same as the direction along which the medium particles oscillate. What is the characteristics of sound waves? It has frequency, amplitude. Frequency means the pitch, amplitude represents the loudness, waveform, and speed. First, we need to know what is frequency. It is basically a measure of how many vibrations occur in one sound. This is measured in hertz and directly corresponds to the pitch of a sound. The more frequent vibration offers the higher pitch of the sound. Optimally, people can hear from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz, that is 20 kilohertz. Sounds below 20 Hz are infrasonic and sound above 20 kilohertz are ultrasonic sound. Next is amplitude. It is the maximum displacement of a wave from an equilibrium position. The louder a sound, the more energy it has. This means loud sounds have a large amplitude. Okay. Next is waveform. This indicates the actual shape of the wave. When represented pictorially, shape of the waves can be sinusoidal, square, triangular, sawtooth, etc. The physical manifestation of waveform is the quality or timbre of sound. This helps us distinguish between sounds coming from different instruments like a guitar and a violin. Two sounds having the same loudness and pitch but having different waveforms will have different hearing perceptions in our ear. Example of waveforms: first, waveforms of piano, then pan flute and snare drum. Last is our characteristics of sound is speed, the rate at which a sound wave travels through a medium. The speed of sound varies depending on the medium and its properties. Example is density, temperature, and elasticity, being fastest in solids, slower in liquids, and slowest in gases. So, characteristics of sound waves: first one is amplitude, wavelength, cycle, timing for one cycle, and distance along with. Types of sounds that we can hear can be broadly classified into three categories: speech, music, and environmental sound. Speech is anything uttered by a human being and generating from the human voice box. Music originates from a musical instrumentation like guitar, flute, violin, etc., usually being generated from vibrating strings, plates, or air columns. Environmental sounds are anything other than speech and music and include sounds we normally hear in our daily life. Such sounds can be divided into two broad subtypes: those originating from inorganic sources and those originating from organic sources. Okay, the former include sounds like a horn of a car, ring of a bell, a door slamming, sound of an explosion, and so on. And while the latter includes sounds made by birds, animals, insects, and human beings, like laughter and clapping. Next, analog to digital audio conversion. Analog audio means the name for an electronic signal that carries its information of sound as continuous fluctuating voltage value. Non-digital tape or audio tape recording of sound. Digitizing is basically the process of converting an analog signal to a digital one. The sound is recorded by making a measurement of the amplitude of the sound at regular intervals, which are defined by the sample rate. The act of taking the measurement is often called sampling, and each measurement is called a sample point. Digital audio. Digital audio data is the representation of sound stored in the form of sample points. Quality of digital recording depends on the sampling rate, that is the number of samples point taken per second, that is hertz. Okay. What is digital audio? It also depends on the quality of original audio source, the quality of capture device and supporting hardware, the characteristics used for capture, the capability of the playback environment. The three sampling frequencies most often used in multimedia are 44.1 kHz, 22.05 kHz, and 11.025 kHz. The higher the sampling rate, the more the measurements are taken for better quality. Okay, and the lower sampling rate, the lesser measurement are taken for low quality. Next is digitization of sound. Okay, digitization of sound or audio. This is the process of converting analog signals to a digital signal. There are three steps of digitization of sound. First is sampling. It is a process of measuring air pressure amplitude at equally spaced moments in time, where each measure constitutes a sample. A sampling rate is basically the number of times the analog sound is taken per second. A higher sampling rate implies that more samples are taken during the given time interval, and ultimately the quality of reconstruction is better. The sampling rate is measured in terms of hertz. The next step is quantization. It is a process of representing the amplitude of each sample as integers or numbers. The numbers are used to represent the value of each sample known as sample size. It is the sample size can be 8 bits or 16 bits. And the last step is encoding. Encoding is basically converting the integer base 10 number to a base 2, that is binary number. The output is a binary expression in which each bit is either R1 or 0, that is pulse or no pulse. Okay. So basically analog signal through sampling, quantization and encoding is basically converting analog signal to a digital signal or digital data. Quantization is process to assign a discrete value from a range of possible values to each sample. Number of samples or number or range of values are dependent on the number of bits used to represent each sample. Next, what is the procedure of capture and playback of digital audio? Air pressure variations captured by a microphone, then analog to digital convert into binary discrete form. Okay, then this again converts back into digital to analog converter, and through the air pressure variation it's played to any mic to mic to any speaker. This is basically the digital sampling, equalized samples or waves. Okay, next is audio file format. An audio file format is a file format for storing digital audio data on a computer system. The bit layout of the audio data, excluding metadata, is called the audio coding format and can be uncompressed or compressed to reduce the file size, often using lossy compression techniques. Audio file formats are: first is .wav. This is an uncompressed audio format developed by Microsoft and IBM. WAV documents include raw, lossless PCM, that is pulse course modulation, audio statistics, high audio, incredible but huge record size. Next is MP3, is the most famous compressed audio layout, uses lossy compression, doing away with inaudible sounds to reduce the file duration significantly while maintaining brilliant audio widely supported. Then FLAC, free lossless audio codec. It also losslessly compresses audio records without dropping the quality. However, the documents are larger than MP3s, used wherein better pleasantness is preferred. Next is WMA, Windows Media Audio. Compressed audio layout was advanced via Microsoft as an alternative to MP3, contains DRM duplicate protection capability. Next is AAC, Advanced Audio Coding, a standardized and improved version of MP3 used through Apple's iTunes Shop, can produce more wonderful than MP3 at comparable bit expenses. Next, AIFF, Audio Interchange File Format, an uncompressed audio layout which is superior to the useful resource of Apple, contains fast rate audio. Next is OGG. Vorbis is a free open source compressed audio format alternative to MP3 and AAC. Next is audio applications. First one is media players. Apps like Windows Media Player, iTunes, Winamp, and VLC Media. Audio editors like softwares like Audacity, Adobe Audition. Music streaming, online services like Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music provide audio in compressed formats to clients. Next is podcasting. The podcast introduction software program uses MP3, AAC, and lot of others to submit and distribute podcast episodes. Next is video enhancing software like Adobe Premiere. Final Cut Pro permits importing and exporting audio in AAC, WAV, and AIF codecs for video production. Next is advantage and disadvantage of using audio. Sound adds life to any multimedia application and plays important role in effective marketing presentation. The basic advantage is ensure important information is noticed, add interest, and can communicate more directly than other means. Disadvantages are easily overused, require special equipment for quality production, not as memorable as visual media. Okay? These are the advantage and disadvantages of. Thank you.